Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Bold Carnivore. Here we are today. We're supposed to sit down with Hal Cranmer of A Paradise for Parents. He's running a little behind, I think, but went ahead and launched it so that if anybody's waiting, we'd be here and available. It's nice to be online again. I enjoy what we do here, and I do hope that you do too. Anyone enjoy that new intro piece? I do hope so. It took quite a bit of effort to put together, and I did like it very much. I don't know if it's everybody's forte, but then it's not really mine either. I just enjoy the that it gives me. It's a nice little ditty there. Alrighty then, we are going to talk about uh, about Hal Kramer's work until he gets around. Yeah. So if you don't know, Hal Cranmer is a fellow who owns some assisted living centers out in Arizona, and he uses the system that was pioneered by, well, not necessarily pioneered, but definitely perfected by Maria Emmerich and her husband Craig. They do a lot of work in trying to help people to find their particulars about what they can and can't eat, and they do that through a high protein, high fat diet to an extent. But then one of their primary concerns is how much fat is too much fat. And that's important because apparently people do have a personalized fat threshold. And when you've found that, it's good because you can bounce just below that and keep and or maintain or lose weight. And that's important because a lot of people, especially in our carnivore, do not seem to understand that you can't just eat whatever it is you want. All right. Give me just a moment. I think I've lost the stream just now. Okay, I'm back. I think I bumped the cable or something. All right. So, as I was saying, it's very important to figure out exactly how much is too much of any particular. Too much protein is not necessarily healthy for you. Too much fat is not necessarily healthy for you. And I know that in our sphere, we tend to say eat however much you want, but that really tends to mean eat as much as you really need. Right? Okay. I'm going to check with Hal just now and see if we've got things on the roll. And it seems he's still not responding just now. All right. Well, that's okay. Okay. So this is just me being online for right now, I guess. Wait and see how things go. Give me just a moment. I'm going to post up here I have his webpage. I'm trying to get it to load and go over some of his about stuff. Okay. All right. I wanted to have him tell his own story, but things aren't going the way that I would have wanted them to. So I'm going to share this just now. Okay. And then we can all see together about some of his story because it's very interesting. I was hoping to ask him some live questions and talk about how he's helped to restore several patients to functionality. One of the most recent examples I've read about on online is an elderly fellow who came in who's basically incapacitated. He couldn't really do anything for himself, and they switched him to their personalized diet. And now he's up and doing crafts and working and thriving. One of their things I want to ask him about is a woman that they said had come in with advanced dementia, and they sent her home because they had restored her to functional health. And I would love to be able to ask those live questions. But seems a little behind on that one, and that's all right. Okay, I'm going to try to share screen just now. Okay. All right. So this here, if we can all see, this is his web page for his assisted living centers. There are more than one location. Okay? A paradise for parents. Now, if anyone is having issues with mom and dad, maybe they're not quite so healthy, and it's something you might want to look into, because a lot of people are putting their parents into these assisted living centers, and then they're getting healthy and restored, and then they're going home with a whole new outlook in life and doing a great job. Yeah, it's very good. All right. So, born to this world in India. He was a big baby. Wow, 9.5 pounds. American Embassy Hospital in Delhi. Oh my goodness. What an interesting way to start out in life, right? Spent the first 3 years of life in India. His dad was a foreign service officer at the embassy, and his mother was a housewife. And before they left, parents gave him a great baby brother. Okay, so he's got a sibling. Nice to know, all right? Yeah, my grandparents, both my parents lost their fathers when they were young kids. Wow. So now we know also a lot of cancers are really driven by sugar intake, right? And so that's sad to see, but it is the case. You might get that from the starting out point for a lot of the mutations, or perhaps asbestos, or maybe you smoked too much, or maybe you smoked at all. Some people are very, very sensitive to the crap that's in that. So you might get sick from that. Right? Grandmother was tons of fun. Lovely. All right. Moved to England. Oh, moved to England and back to the US. Oh, look. He was a handsome fellow, wasn't he? Still is, actually. If we get him on live, you'll see. Well, his profile picture was there too. But all right. Let's see if I can get him online just now. Checking once more. It doesn't seem so. Okay. Nope. Still not online. Okay. Well, that's all right. Maybe we can catch up again sometime. I'll have to see what's going on with him on that side. All right. Here we go. Where are we? All right. Came time for picking colleges. My grandfather had a huge influence. From seeing the shrapnel scars to hearing some of his stories, I always wanted to be like him. I actually wanted to ask him why he wanted to join the military, but here it is already written out. So there we go. Thank you, Hal Cranmer. Okay. That's why I quickly gave up looking at regular colleges and set my sights on the United States Air Force Academy. Cool. All right. Love the timeline. Oh, look. So Top Gun of him. Check it out. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try and find when he got into, okay, find some unbelievable experience. Philippines, Cambodia, Malaysia. I've been to Cambodia. Yeah, it's a lovely place. If you've not been out of your own country, take a trip. Yeah, it can broaden your horizons so much. It's fantastic. Yeah, so, but I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who moved countries too. So yeah. You might enjoy it, you might not. One big hole in life. Adriana, my girlfriend from college, still back in the United States. She was the reason I wanted to stay in the U.S. Oh, wow. Wow, it's beautiful. I mean, but then one of my reasonings for wanting to move to Indonesia, so, I mean, not Adriana, I don't know who she is, but my wife, Then one day she called me up and said she was coming to see me for 2 weeks. Phone call was one of the happiest days of my life. Oh, that's beautiful. She's like, You know, I'd like to see this made into a TV movie, you know, because just reading the story, and I think there's a lot of material here. Right? Okay. 93, welcome to the world of special operations. Sweet. Special ops. Dude. Okay. Flying the civilians, guys. And after that, last deployment, submitted my application to the airlines. US Airways was the first to call. Cool deal. All right. During this time, my grandmother's okay. See, now this gets into the story of why he switched to what he switched to, I'm sure, right? Okay. During this time, my grandmother succumbed to her Alzheimer's. I was devastated to lose her. Now, we now know that Alzheimer's is also a sugar-driven disease quite a bit. Yeah. Some have taken to calling it diabetes type 3, and I think that's probably a very strong moniker for it because it seems to be very related. I was devastated to lose her. Soon after she passed away, we also lost her cousin Lil. It was a very tough time. Lil was like another grandmother to me. Okay, cool. 9/11 changes everything. Some people's lives are changed. My family's lives are no exception to that. US my last day with US Air was December 2001. Was in December. Okay, so it was somewhere in there, but the exact date not stated. Oof, yeah, I can see that. I'm sure that there was a lot of difficulty around that time. Guess what? I just got laid off. Guess what? I'm pregnant. I I can see, married couples having exactly that conversation, and I would like to see, as I said, that in a made-for-TV drama because wow. All right, somewhere in here, my boss decided to take a chance on me. Where was that? Right after this. Oop. Okay, this is more about flying though. International financial auditor. Okay, that is not about flying. International finance, internal financial auditor. I'm not really one for the numbers, but sounds interesting, I'm sure. Okay, I'm going to check on the backside one more time and see if we've got Hal come through. I wonder if maybe he made an error on the. No? Okay. Well, messaging him again. Maybe he's in transit. So the joys of live streaming, sometimes things work out the way you want them to, and other times not so much. Yeah. But then that's to be expected. He has several facilities where things could go at any moment, and it's not surprising that he's not here necessarily. Oh, Mama! Hi, Mama Cracker. How you doing? Glad to see you. Yeah. So far, you're the only one watching the stream, as far as I can tell. Yeah. But maybe that'll change. I'm not sure that this stream is as interesting as I would have wanted it to be. How you doing? Okay, I'm gonna go on the reading. Yeah, there we go. Right. Wow. Okay. Time to take charge. Maybe this is there's a large aerospace company bought our company in 2012, and I suddenly felt like a very small cog in a very large machine. I think most of us have been there, right? A headhunter called me. A headhunter? Ooh, I'd rather keep my head. Don't worry, I know what that actually means. Yeah. It's a headhunter positioned to run a multi-million-dollar aerospace machining plant in Minneapolis. Minneapolis. It's a fun word to pronounce. Okay. Changes at my current company combined with my love for flipping homes and renting made me jump at the chance to run an aerospace plant. It was a huge challenge. Worked long days, including weekends, to make it happen. It helped that my boss, the VP of operations for the division, had lots of experience running plants. He took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. Here's rope A, here's rope B, and just tie them together. A good knot. If you were a sailor, that makes sense. I'm not a sailor, but it was fine. Okay. Ah, well, I thought I had him online just now, but oh, there's, okay, yeah. Here he is. He's off timing. That's what it is. I thought it was. He says, I thought it was tomorrow. Okay, but that understands. That's understandable. There are scheduling difficulties there. So because it will show up on his side as posted for Sunday, and it's actually for my Sunday because if I were doing it tomorrow, I would be teaching, so that would just be impossible. Okay. Oh, there he is. Okay, here he goes. All right, I'm gonna add him to the stage. I'm gonna shut this down. Wait, let me shut that down, and I'm gonna add him to the stage. Here he is. Howdy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, sir.
I'm really sorry. I could have sworn it was tomorrow. I guess I got the time mixed up.
I understand that. I've actually done that once myself because when it's posted, it actually says the date that it's posted as, and then if you see it as
Oh,
Sunday, but that'll be on your side. It'll be Saturday because if it's Sunday for you, then it's Monday for me, and I'll be teaching.
got it. Oh, okay. It's Sunday your time. Got it. Okay. I was
So
thinking
sorry.
Sunday
I should have
mine.
clarified that.
No problem. Sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're not late. You're on a totally different
Ex-
day.
yeah, exactly. I'm early for what I thought it was.
Okay, wait. What is that? Wait. I got something else on here. Okay, there it is. All right, I had the screen share still going. So we're just telling our friends about your facilities, but I haven't actually gotten to that part in the About Us section of your page. Anyway,
Okay.
Hal Cranmer, I would like to hear more about your story from your perspective, right?
Okay. Um, okay. I guess I just a little background on me. I own 4 assisted living homes near Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States, and each of them are like residential homes. They're If you drove by them, you would just think they were another house in the neighborhood. But they're larger houses, and we've converted them to have between 6 and 8 bedrooms in each home. And the homes are licensed for up to 10 people. So with those bedrooms, we'll have various combinations of shared and private rooms. We'll have people with roommates or people who are private. And some of the rooms with roommates, it really helps people, especially with dementia and Alzheimer's, because they tend to get very quiet and withdraw within themselves, and having a roommate brings them out more and gives them more a chance to have some conversation and maybe even slow down the disease, just because social interaction really helps it. Um, so so we're licensed for 10. Normally we have between 8 and 10 people in each home at a time. We have caregivers there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that are taking care of the people. Normally we have 2 to 3 caregivers there during the day, and we'll just have one caregiver do the overnight shift because most of them sleep pretty well through the night. And as we try to heal them up, their sleep gets better. And so it makes it easier too. So a lot of times when someone first moves in, they're up a lot during the night because it's a new surroundings for them. And until they get in the routine and get used to it, it's a little harder for them to um, be adjusted and be able to sleep well. Um, so I, I guess when I got into this, is that a good background, or you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you're doing great. No, yeah.
Okay. I guess when I got into this, I saw a lot of people kind of warehoused in assisted living facilities.
Mm.
They're laying around on the couch or in their bed or in an easy chair all day, next meal, waiting for the next chance to have their medications. Family would visit, which is great, but it was kind of sad and depressing. And I just thought we can do a lot better than that. So I just started researching what we can do to improve their health beyond just bringing the doctor in and doing whatever they say. Not that doctors are bad. There's definitely a place and time for them, but there's more that can be done. If you see most medicines, especially in the elderly, um, they really don't heal people. They calm people down. They ease people's pain. They help people sleep, but they don't. If you take a condition, especially like Alzheimer's or dementia, but even diabetes or neuropathy or cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, it it suppresses the symptoms, but it doesn't, like, you don't become normal blood pressure again. You don't become, your memory back. You don't become not diabetic anymore. You just manage those for the rest of your life. And that's what you see in the elderly. So I thought, well, I'm going on the internet, I'm going on YouTube, and people are healing from these conditions. And it's not because they took a certain pill. Especially something like diabetes. Lots of people have healed themselves from diabetes. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, and as I got more into this, I realized that diabetes and insulin resistance, high blood sugar, all that contributes to many of these problems, especially in the elderly. And the way people heal from it is through eating the right food. So the Department of Health in Arizona is very strict about what medications we give, as they should be. When a doctor prescribes it, we're supposed to give them 2 pills twice a day that are 5 milligrams each of whatever medication you want. They check that the pills we've got are 5 milligrams each, and they check our notebooks and our tracking sheets and make sure that we gave them 2 pills 2 times a day. And they go through all the medications and do that, which is a long, arduous process because a lot of these people are on 15 to 30 medications when they become
Wow.
elderly. Um, so we follow those rules and guidelines to the letter, and we, are checked by the Department of Health, and usually we get a pretty good inspection. However, when they get to food, they the biggest question they have is, do you have your menus posted? There's some vague references to, are you following the U.S. Department of Agriculture or the Food and Drug Administration's food pyramid? But it's more, do you have menus posted? Those menus can be, anything. And I see homes that, they're very budget conscious and buy ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly and spaghetti and things like that because it's cheap. And there's no requirement to feed people good. And a lot of these elderly people are very addicted to sugar because that's what
Mm-hmm.
they've been eating their whole life, which is causing a lot of these problems. And so, a lot of assisted living facilities and nursing homes and everything want to make them happy. And so they feed them ice cream and candy and cakes and, donuts and all those kind of things because that makes grandma or grandpa happy. Um, so we're taking a different approach, and it's um, I'd say more and more people are liking it. When I first started, I had a lot of resistance to it because mom's 85, dad's 90 years old. They don't have much time left. Make them happy, eat what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been gradually I do that. I don't force people to do this kind of diet, but um, once those people move out, I really look for someone who wants their mom, dad, grandfather, or grandmother to get better. And when they come in, I've gone through several phases from just what my mom told me, starting, just take away the candy and ice cream and all that, to went through a vegan phase, which didn't really do anything for anyone. And I had a couple people losing weight, and I had a lot of people saying, if you feed me one more salad for breakfast, I'm leaving. So, and then so I stopped that. And then I discovered the carnivore and ketogenic diets, and I started doing that and started seeing some really good results. So for the people who did it. So, that's where I'm at now, and I'm in the process of hiring a health coach who's teaching us how to cook. It's hard to implement the carnivore diet except for a few people who really specifically want that. A lot of
Mhm.
people are like, "Are you kidding me? No vegetables, meat only." And so we kind of backed off and do more a ketogenic diet for a lot of the people. But the carnivore ones we get the best results from. And with the ketogenic diet, I'm working with this health coach who's very good at making things. She made me some bagels the other day that were made out of eggs, and they tasted
Wow.
like buttered bagels. I mean, it wasn't like cinnamon raisin bagel. It was a plain bagel, but it was still really good, and it had zero carbs. So she's in the process of teaching my cooks how to make those kind of foods that um, the residents would like, their families would like to see them eating, but that are really good for them and very low carbohydrate. So um, I'm continuing to try to improve and make it palatable to people, that they don't, see a side of beef on their plate every day, every meal. Like I'd like it to be, but I don't think I can sell that.
Well, that does make sense. A lot of people look at a great big piece of beef and go, "Huh? I didn't expect this." So I can see
Yes,
that.
especially for breakfast.
Huh. Yeah, right. I like eggs and meat for breakfast, but then I know what I'm doing and I know why I'm doing it, right? But you
Right.
end up with a lot of people who come in, they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know why they're doing it. So
Well, I mean,
how did
there's
this?
a reason they're in my homes. No one comes to my home saying, "I've been on this carnivore diet all my life and now I've got heart disease and diabetes." You never hear that.
Could you tell me about how you got started in assisted living, though? Where did that come from? Why did you move to assisted living, and what was the
Um,
beginnings of that for you?
okay, so I, I started my professional career as a Air Force pilot. I flew C-130s in the Air Force. Got out of the Air Force after about 10 or 12 years of doing that. Joined a commercial airline. I was a commercial airline pilot for a couple of years. And then 9/11 happened, and I lost my airline job along with half the pilots in the United States. So I looked all over the country, found a job in manufacturing. I worked for a company that made power tools and pool equipment, and did that for probably 20 years almost. But on the side, I was flipping houses, or no, I wouldn't say, yeah, maybe 15 years. I was flipping houses, buying rundown places, fixing them up, selling them to families and other people. Um, and then I'd keep some of my own to do rental properties. And I did a lot of networking with that. And another real estate investor said to me, "You should check out assisted living." Because at the time I was renting to a bunch of college kids at the local university. And he sold it to me with, the residents in assisted living don't have big beer parties and destroy your houses, partying, and your houses won't smell of marijuana and all this good stuff. So I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. We'd always wanted to get back to the Phoenix area. We were living in the far northern United States in a state called Minnesota. We hated the cold and the snow up there, and all my kids were wanting to go to the university, and they wanted to go to Arizona and Arizona State. We'd been coming down here on vacation because my wife's parents had a winter home in Arizona that they'd come down, and we'd go down and vacation. And so I went down to Arizona, took a class in it. Arizona is a big retirement area. Um, People move down here after they retire, and so it's a great place to have an assisted living home. It's just there's a lot of competition. There's a ton of assisted living and nursing homes around here. But so I took a class, and the guy who taught the class had a realtor friend who had some for sale, and we just kind of took the plunge and jumped into it as a real estate investment, thinking, oh, it'll be like rental properties. I'd have a staff running it. I just do the behind the scenes books and coordinate maintenance and things like that. And as I got into it, I just got extremely passionate and kind of disgusted that this is all we do for these seniors. We've got war heroes in here. We've got captains of industry. We've got, you know, moms who've raised 7 kids who all turned out to be very successful. You know, all these great stories, and we're just going to pump them full of medicine, pump them full of really bad food, and just let them waste away the days until they die. And I just didn't want to be a part of that.
No, I very much appreciate that, sir. I actually used to work in nursing homes myself, and it is a sad state to see how they just sit them up and prop them up on the corner and let them degrade.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally people come in and play bingo, or you'll have a musician come in and play to them. And we do all that too. But, you know, that's not going to help their health at all. You know, it cheers them up a little, but it doesn't improve them much at all.
Okay. So you said, try what my mama said, cut out the sugar and the candies and whatnot, and that had maybe marginal success. Then you switched to vegan, and
Yeah,
most people didn't like that,
right.
right?
Yep.
Okay, how did you hit on the ketogenic though, and the carnivore, and what was your first real success?
Well, actually, my first real success was with the Do What Mom Says. Um, soon after I got, and that's kind of what planted the seed. Soon after I bought the assisted living and started working with people, I had a gentleman come in. He was another pilot, which made me very, I liked him from the start.
Invested?
So, and he was a World War II pilot, actually. He flew in the Berlin airlift. And he told me, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. I want to die at home. I want to live with my wife at home. His wife was still alive. Um, I said, well, how badly do you want to do that? And he said, really badly. And so I said, all right, well, I'm going to try to feed you some nutritious food. We're not going to have any sugar. Back then it was, we're going to feed you salads, lean meats, stuff like vegetables, a little fruit, but not much, and no desserts. He said, fine, I'll do it. And then I hired a personal trainer to exercise him. And he came to us in a wheelchair, and I told him, if you can get out of this wheelchair and walk to the car and get in it with your wife, you can go home. And 6 months or so later, 5 to 6 months, he did exactly that. When the trainer wasn't there, he was still exercising, working every day to try to get home. And that, I think attitude's a huge portion of this as well. But he got in his car and went home, and I went to his house and filmed a testimonial video. And he walked in. He was out walking his dog when I came over. So and he said, I'm continuing to exercise and continue to eat well. It's working. So that's what kind of got me started on it. Um, and then, that's when I went through the vegan thing and everything like that. I picked up the ketogenic thing. I was hearing some podcasts about it, and I was starting to get interested. And then I heard a podcast by a guy named John Jaquish, who he's a PhD in biomechanics, and he kind of really tries to use science to say, how can I achieve an outcome? And he's made a machine called an OsteoStrong that's supposed to help osteoporosis in people. And his research he did on he found gymnasts, people who were gymnasts through their lives, very rarely got osteoporosis. And
Hmm.
as he studied it more and more, he realized it was because of the pounding when they do a flip, or when they'd get off the bars, or off the rings or whatever, and landed, they would, that jarring landing, actually the stress it puts on the bone causes the bone to regenerate and build new cells and get stronger, kind of like a muscle. And I may
Mhm.
be not saying this completely right. I wasn't delving into that so much. But basically, he created a machine that would simulate that pounding on people. You just sat in it, put your feet in some stands or something like that, and they would get these shocks, and it would strengthen the bones. And it was helping to improve people's osteoporosis. So then he turned his attention to muscle building, and, how can we make weightlifting or what can we do to weightlifting to optimize muscle growth? And he found there was a range of motion with muscles. Like you have a strong range, a weak range, and a mid range. So think of like if you've ever bench pressed something before. If you take the
Hmm.
bar off the stand and you go down just about 6 inches and then push the bar back up, you can do a whole lot of reps, a whole lot more than if you bring the bar to your chest and then push it all the way up, right? Or you can do a whole lot more weight just bringing the bar down 6 inches than you can if you bring down the weight. And what he was finding with weightlift, so that's your strong range, is that first 6 inches from the stand coming down to towards your chest. Okay. The weak range is at your chest. And so you can't, um, so when you push it up, you, you know, you're pushing through the weak, the mid, and the strong range, but you're only using a weight for the weak range. And so the whole range of your muscle is not getting taxed as much as it should. So there's a long-winded explanation, but so he figured let's do bands instead of weights, where when that band stretches, it's putting a lot more force on the strong range than the weak range, and so you get a burn through the whole thing, the whole range of motion of the muscle, and so you get much better muscle growth. And if you go to his Facebook page with people who are doing this, he has a tremendous success rate. I've gained 10 pounds of muscle doing it. I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I couldn't gain a pound working out with weights. But long story of that is he wrote a book to accompany it of this is how you build muscle, and it's called Weightlifting's a Waste of Time, and so is cardio, um, which is a great
Good title.
catchy title. But in the book, it concentrates, it talks about his system, his X3 system, but it concentrates on you also need to do a carnivore diet. And that was new to me. And he explained all the studies and why it's so and everything like that. So I was like, well, as long as I bought his system, I might as well try the carnivore diet too. And I couldn't believe how good I felt. And I was like, holy cow, I feel like I'm 25 again. I'm about to be 57 here in a couple months. And I just thought,
Wow.
this is amazing. I feel amazing. I have endless amounts of energy. I don't get tired in the afternoon. I went and got my blood work after doing it for 6 months. It was phenomenal. When I went did a colonoscopy in 2016. I had a bunch of polyps they had to remove and everything. I had another one in 2021. It was clear. They were like no problems at all. My triglycerides are like 37, I think, at my last test. It it just like everything suddenly worked and clicked. And I'm like, wow, if I feel this way, imagine what my assisted living residents are going to feel like.
Right.
So so we um, so I talked to people about it. I got we're not just eating meat, you know, we're not just going to eat fish and eggs and meat. We need vegetables. So I realized that's not working. Then I kind of backtracked into the ketogenic diet. But I have had people on carnivore and seen amazing results with it. So um, I'm totally sold on it. I keep evangelizing hey, maybe we should try this. But I realize it's a hard sell, especially with elderly people, who are being told, hey, they've got kidney disease. They need to really cut back on protein, or they have heart disease, the cholesterol is going to really get to them, all this kind of stuff. And the people in that X3 community are like, my cholesterol's over 400 and I feel fantastic. Should I worry? you know, and you see pictures of them and they've got like, 7% body fat and they're shredded and looking great. And you're like, I don't think that guy's going to die of a heart attack anytime soon. Um, but that led me to research more, and high cholesterol is not that bad. I had very low cholesterol when I was doing that vegan thing. It was around 125 or so. It's gone up
Hmm.
over 200 now, just because I'm eating tons of meat. But my LDLs are fine, my HDLs are fine, my triglycerides are fine. So what? If that's my only bad reading and I feel like this, I don't care. So I'm trying to educate people. Like, every senior that comes to me is on a statin drug, for instance. So I'm fighting with doctors and saying, do they really need to be? Let's take them off it. And if it becomes horrible, we'll put it back on it. It's just, we'll go through med lists and say, do they need that? Do they need that? Do they need that?
Well,
And
speaking of your med list, though, I had a
mhm.
question that come up from your earlier statement. You said that Arizona requires that you have at least 2 meds for each patient. Is that the case? I
No,
mean,
no,
like you're
no,
saying you must have,
no, no,
or
no. I was just giving an example. So, like,
oh, an
they
example. Okay,
they
just checking.
that say they had a pill that they were need to take 2 times a day and take 2 pills 2 times a day. So they're going to look at the prescription and the medicine bottle, and then our forms that show we gave them to them 2 times a day, and we gave them 2 pills each
Oh
time,
yeah.
or that the resident refused or was sick and couldn't take it or whatever. We have notes and stuff, but they're checking
Oh
that
yeah.
what the doctor prescribes is what we're giving them to the letter. But there's
I
no
just wanted to be sure that that was the
requirement.
case.
No, there's
Okay.
no
I was
requirement.
thinking if there's a requirement for meds, that's
No.
just scary.
Yeah, that would be really scary. But I'm convinced a doctor here could prescribe heroin, and the people who inspect us would go, okay, are you giving the heroin in the right dose? You know, so the doctors have incredible power in the assisted living industry. We can't give people Tylenol without a prescription. We can't put a moisturizing cream on their skin without a prescription. But we can feed them
Amazing.
any food we want all day long, no problem.
Yeah. Wait, we got a question.
Mhm. Do I? Yes, I do network with other assisted living homeowners. Um, I have a lot of people interested in what I'm doing, and I'd love to spread the word. I welcome the competition. I want to get to the point personally where I can turn down people and say, you know, if you want your grandma to eat ice cream and she loves that and you don't care what it's doing to her health, there's 500 other assisted living places out there. But I'm also getting a lot of calls from people, and I'm getting people moving to my homes from out of state because they want what I'm doing. Um, and so I'd love to teach other assisted living homeowners. This isn't about me making a ton of money. This is about spreading the word and making our country and our world, the people in it, as healthy as possible, in my opinion. And any other assisted living homeowner that would want to do that, please contact me. I'd love to work with you.
Okay,
Time
but wait,
constraints
I'm totally
permitting.
I'm totally confused by this though, because I thought that Alzheimer's and dementia, that these are advanced diseases that just rob you of your mind, and they're progressive. You can't stop them, can you?
So it depends. It's like any disease. The earlier you catch it, the better it's going to be. But I have had people get better. Like their scores are improved when we give them cognitive tests. So it can reverse. I had one lady who was very early in stages of it, but when we tested her, she definitely had dementia. And after 7 months of doing the treatments, she's living on her own and tests the normal range again. So it's hard, and I've only had that one total success, but I've had ones that their scores on their tests have improved, their health has improved. The problem is with a lot of cells, as this was explained to me, and I'm not a medical professional, and all the waivers here, this is just informational purposes only. Um, a lot of cells in your body regenerate, like your blood cells, your skin cells, your heart cells. All of these cells regenerate, and you get new cells being created every couple of weeks or so. With the brain, it's a lot slower process. It takes forever to get new neurons, new nerve cells, things like that. And so even though we're feeding the brain really good stuff and getting it better, it takes a really long time. We have some outside consultants we work with to improve people's memory, and they always tell me you're going to see their health get better before you see their memory get better. It's going to be slow. And for a lot of people, if you come to me age 95 and you've had dementia for 15 years and you're on hospice, you're not going to get better, or the improvement you're going to get is not anywhere close to what you want it to be. but you might not get worse either. So, whatever I can do, whatever stage you're in, I'd love to try to help. There was another question I saw and I didn't read it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not a question. It was just a statement. Here,
Oh,
pop it back up. Most of us carnivores, I know people who could have used this diet before too late. I
yeah,
also
absolutely.
know
I wish I
several
did
people.
this diet when I was 10 or 5. I'm trying to
Oh
get my
my god.
grandson on it. My daughter's a little wary of it, but I'm working on her, because I
If
think you get on. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen the internet. There's a picture of a lady that's a rancher in northern Canada that's been doing this diet for
yes,
65 years. She's 82
yes,
and she works 14-hour days on a ranch in northern Canada, and she
I
looks like
know.
she's 45 or so.
Yeah, Rancher Maggie.
Yes, Rancher Maggie. I mean, if that picture doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will.
No, my friend Chafee went up there to see her, and he said that she was out there in the field dragging bulls around and stuff.
It's amazing. But why isn't the whole world looking at that and going, we're raising beef from now on, forget all these other crops?
God, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, if I had been eating like this since I was young, I'd probably be a professional prize fighter by now or something, or
right.
a
Oh my
gymnast.
goodness. Yeah. I mean, just thinking of going through college and, sleepless nights or all the partying I did and how awful I felt when I was hungover and things like that. I have no interest in alcohol anymore. you know, I, I see what it does to people and I'm like, why?
Mhm. So, touch on for me, if you will, about how you met up with Mr. and Mrs. Emmerich. Now, what was that story about, and how has it changed your perspective in the assisted living?
Um, yeah. So I didn't have a lot of, um, not many people were talking to me about this stuff. And then one time on Twitter, I responded to one of Sean Baker's tweets saying, "Hey, we're starting to do this in our assisted living homes and seeing good things." And it like blew up, and I didn't think it was. I thought, I'll get a like or two. And so his folks reached out to me and put me on their podcast, and it was he wrote me later and said it was the highest viewed podcast they'd ever had up to that point. Maybe
Wow.
it's probably more now, but I was like, wow, I guess there's really some interest in this. And from that, Maria Emmerich saw that podcast, called me from Hawaii. She spends half the year in Hawaii and half in Wisconsin, and said, I love what you're doing. I'm going to send you all my cookbooks. Here's my cell phone. Call me with any questions you have. And so I was blown away by her generosity. And sure enough, like 10 days later, this big box with probably 15 different keto cookbooks showed up at my door. Um, and so I took them over to my assisted living homes, and I've hired some cooks to cook keto, because what I was finding, most assisted living homes, especially the residential ones like I have, um, they have their caregivers cook. And when the caregivers are bathing these people and dressing them and cleaning them up and changing their diapers and getting them to sleep and dispensing all their medications, when you throw cooking on top of that, they're going to make them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or ramen or
Mm.
something, very hot dogs. They're going to make, I got to get the food out. I'll do this. So I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to have cooks. They're going to come and cook. And, um, they're going to, then the caregivers don't have to worry about it. They can just help serve it. And the caregivers were thrilled about it. I just reached out in my neighborhood, like one of those sort of social media apps. Hey, who's in this neighborhood that would be interested in cooking? And I found some wonderful ladies who are housewives who were like, well, I got some free time. I could use some extra money and I love to cook. So I sat them down with Maria's cookbooks and said, this is what I want to make. I want very low carbs. We're talking 25, 50 max a day. Um, I want these people in ketosis. I want um, the, you to make, food that they'll eat, but,
Mhm.
not food that's going to hurt them. And I explained this all to them. They learned very quickly, and it's really neat. One of the housewives put herself on the ketogenic diet and lost 37 pounds. The other
Wow.
one, the other one researches. She calls me out of the blue, like, "Hey, look what I found about keto, and what it does for people and stuff." So they're really getting into it, and they see the results of our residents. People starting walking again, people coming off diabetes medications, things like that, and they're thrilled. I mean, it's beyond what I pay them. They love what they're seeing and what they do. They come over and hug all our residents and talk to them, and it really is neat. It's kind of a family affair thing. So
Wow.
Maria and Craig have been helpful. Every time questions come up, I email them. I've been on their podcast, and Maria actually came to Phoenix. Um, it was April 13th, so what's that, about 2 weeks ago now, and put on a cooking class. So I brought all my cooks to the class, and I also, the lady who her dementia was reversed, flew down for the cooking class because now she's an obsessed keto cook. And she came to the class too. So Maria got to meet her. Maria and her become really good friends. They text each other, call each other all the time. And so the class was held at the house of one of her health coaches that's certified in this, and Maria shared my podcast with Maria on it, and the health coach was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to help these people." And so that's the one that's now trying to go through this, educate our cooks more, teach them how to make um, like desserts that are ketogenic, not ones that you see in the store that you just buy ice cream that says keto, but really ice cream made out of eggs and other flavors and things like that that are very low carb, uh, and supposedly easy to make. We're just starting this journey with her, but stuff that people will eat and be happy about eating and not get think we're a lot of them think we're doing some kind of wild experiment on them by having them not eat many carbs. And I'm like, no, this has been around for over 100 years. It's been proven. But so we want to try to we're trying to make it as easy for them as possible to still get better.
So from all that you said, I could see if you cook like that, people will come into the assisted living center. If they're making an assessment, they're going to look at what the people are eating, and they're going to go like, "Well, my parents are going to be really happy with this place because it looks like you're just regular and standard, and everybody's doing the same things." But in reality, you're feeding them stuff that's going to make them healthy and strong, and it doesn't even really have to be broadcast. This is our menu, and at the same time, this is actually part of their treatment, and they have little to no idea that
Right.
that's actually going to be the most effective.
Right. I mean, there's no downside. It's not like there's going to be side effects to it. And Maria actually did a Zoom meeting with me, and we did like a 10-15 minute, this is what keto is and how good it is for you. And I sent that as an email to all my families, and I let new ones know. I don't want to hide anything from them. This is what they're doing. And if they really fight me on it, I say, okay, well, we'll have a little portion of the pantry or fridge for your mom or dad's food, but they have to be discreet about it because we're going to get everyone else going, why does she get that and I don't? um, and it kind of works, but generally most people are really enthusiastic. And the real proof is when they come in to see my facility and think about moving in, everyone's walking around, everyone's talking, even the people with dementia, Alzheimer's. The rest of their bodies are in really good shape. And the best compliment I think I've had in this assisted living business is a Department of Health inspector come in and go, well, there's one or two things we can improve on the paperwork, but my God, your people are so healthy. What are you doing? So, because she's used to going into other homes where everyone's just laying on the couch or in bed or, barely moving. So, hearing that, and think about marketing wise, if a family goes to my home and sees everyone walking around and having a great time and talking, and I've got people exercising on their own because they love how they're feeling, um, versus you go in and everyone's comatose, which home are you going to pick? right?
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
even if I can't get them well enough to move back home, I can get them well enough that they can go out to dinner with their family. They can go home for a weekend. They can spend Christmas at home. They can spend Thanksgiving at home. Things like that. We take them out to baseball games. We take them to a local lake. There's a big boat we can rent out and take them riding around the lake and see the sights. We take them to the zoo. We just took them to an air show at a local Air Force base. And because they're healthy enough, they can go do that stuff, and they realize, wow, I'm not only getting my health back, I'm getting my freedom back as well.
That is so important too. The ability to age well and into your sunset years, be able to move freely and do what you would like to do instead of being dragged around.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. I had one gentleman who said, I don't want to die in a hospital. I want to die jumping out of a window of a jealous lover's house. And he said, but not quite yet. I thought that was hysterical.
That's an interesting fantasy for an old fellow to have.
Yeah. He was like 87 or something too. I love his motivation.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, I think he
I'll
had
be
it naked.
100
I think
years
he had
old
it
and I died
naked
because I
too.
fell out of a window.
Yeah, I think he said he wanted to be naked when it happened. I told him, not the greatest
Wow.
picture in my mind, but I love your attitude.
I can certainly appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I was just, we were posted earlier in the stream. I posted up from your about page. Having read your about page, I was looking at that going, man, this needs to be like a made for TV movie the way this reads.
Yeah, my wife thinks I have career ADD. But yeah, hey, new job. Let's go over there.
I don't know. You spent so many years in the same place, though. I don't see that as an
Yeah.
actuality.
No, I did, but a lot of people spend 30, 40 years doing the same thing. So I
Oof.
couldn't do that. Although I think I've kind of found my passion and calling. I really like what I'm doing now. And I'm sorry I got to walk around a little because I got my battery getting low. But yeah, I'm all in on this. I don't see me getting out of this anytime soon because it's just so rewarding to see what's going on. So
Nice
give me
place.
1 second. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, we can keep talking. I just
No problem.
want to make sure I don't run out of power.
I don't want to distract you and make you trip over something.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I know it pretty well around here.
I don't know. Some people can look at a machine and walk and talk at the same time, and other people can't. So I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Nope. I thought my computer was back here. Hold on. So, yeah, does anyone have any other questions or?
Well, unfortunately, we've only had one person really stick with the whole stream today, so I don't
Okay.
have any more questions just now. Mama Cracker, have you got any more questions in mind? We'll wait and see if she types up something. Okay, well, if you can, share the stream with your friends. Be sure.
Something else I wanted to bring up that is really cool about this is a lot of people see what we're doing, and like the families of the people see what we're doing, and they start doing it themselves. So, like I just had a lady's husband is in my assisted living home, and she picked up the carnivore diet, and she texted me pictures the other day showing, like, one picture showed her open hand, and the next one showed her with a fist, and she said, I haven't been able to make a fist in 20 years because I have arthritis. And today I made a fist for the first time, and I can't believe it. So she's a total convert. She sometimes takes Ubers because she hurt her foot and can't drive right now. And every Uber driver she goes with, she tries to convince them to get on the carnivore diet. So it's,
Well, this
you know,
this is the kind of
once you
thing that
have
does make you
success
into an
with it,
apologist.
what's
Yeah,
that?
I said that's the kind of thing that does make you into an apologist for it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, what when once it happens to you, you want to tell the whole world about it. It's pretty neat. It's my cousin just sent me a text. He had prostate cancer, and he um, he he's kind of overweight and everything. And he's like, I've been on this now for like 3 weeks. I've watched your podcast, and I'm like, I can't believe how good I feel. So you know, and I really didn't talk to him about it. I told him I saw him at Christmas and kind of told him what I'm doing and everything, and he didn't really. He said it sounds interesting. So it took a while to percolate to him, but apparently it did. And he says, I'm working on my wife. I'm working on my daughter to do it. So it's neat to see it spread.
It really is. And I mean, to see any success whatsoever with something as dangerous as cancer or Alzheimer's is just, it's flooring, because most of our establishment tells us these things cannot be healed. They're progressive and they destroy you without using vast amounts of drugs to just maintain or control them.
And even more than that, they tell you don't eat meat. It promotes cancer. You know, or if they want you to eat meat, they want you to eat lean cuts of meat. Well, Alzheimer's is a very much a inflammation, insulin resistant problem in your brain. And with Alzheimer's and a lot of the dementia, a lot of the diseases of cognitive decline, Parkinson's, things like that, um, it's because you've got inflammation, and the glucose in your body can't get into your cells because there's insulin resistance, and um, you can't get the energy to your brain, and your cells start dying. Well, ketones can get to your cells. They don't need insulin to get into your cells. So, you know, eating lean meat is not a good answer. In fact, the consultants we work with really tell us, for the Alzheimer's and dementia people, we want to try to have like 60% fat, you know, 35% protein, and then, you know, a little bit of carbs if you have to. So, you know, telling people not to eat fat is a really bad thing for dementia and Alzheimer's, it seems like.
So
So
how about combining though? When you see your patients sit down, your residents sit down to food, do you separate the carbs from the fats? Do you have them at set times, or do you just put them all on the same plate and
we
still
try
having
to
the
keep,
same
yeah,
success?
we try to keep carbs out of our house or our homes. We don't want carbs at all. If we have to have it, like once or twice a week, we'll serve them dessert, but they're fat. We call them fat bombs. You know, little um,
Oh, from Maria, yeah.
chunks of fat. Yes, exactly. From Maria's recipes. She has a couple desserts we serve, um, like chaffles, I think is another one, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they scoop it up, and there's no sugar in it. So you can definitely avoid it and not feel like you're starving yourself or denying yourself what you really like, that kind of thing. And it works. So most of them, there's some that are like, yeah, she said, I ate so much fat that I lost 30 pounds in 2 months. Exactly. We had a girl that we put on the carnivore diet, and we combination of carnivore and fasting. She came to us weighing 548 pounds, and
Wow.
in 9 months she was down to 320. She lost 230, almost 230 pounds in 9 months. Just eat, and she ate a ton of meat. I mean, we were going through meat like crazy, and fish and things like that. So and we weren't limiting her fat intake. We were limiting her carb intake. So it definitely can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And fat doesn't make you fat. Although I've learned from the Emmerichs that
There.
that if you're heavily diabetic, which she wasn't, surprisingly, um, too much fat cannot be good for you, right? Because you've already got the fat. The idea is to not add more fat because that you were eating badly, and the insulin is stores the excess as fat, and then you're adding more fat to it. So you want to burn those fat stores. So Maria and Craig preach more like do a lot more protein if you're in that condition, especially diabetics and stuff like that, and not so much fat. But
I did want to touch on that because they talk about how everyone has a personal fat threshold where if you exceed your actual fat uptake capacity, then you're going to start storing it just like you would if you were eating carbs.
Right. So fat can make you fat, but it's in a certain condition.
Specialized condition.
Right. Which makes it makes it challenging though too, because you want the fat for the Alzheimer's and dementia. And if you are diabetic, you're going to have a lot higher chance of contracting Alzheimer's or dementia. So, I mean, they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. So you got a thin line to work. But you know what? If you're overweight and you do have all that fat that the insulin's been storing, you got plenty of stores to convert into ketones and bring them up to your brain, right? You don't necessarily have to take in more. So you can pull from those stores. The trick is don't bring in carbs that your body's going to try to use instead of the fat. Right?
Nice. Wow. So what's your personal changes from having switched your diet? Do you do a full carnivore diet for yourself, or do you do a high keto diet?
I really try to do a full carnivore diet. I really try to limit it to meat, mostly steak and ground beef. And I eat a bunch of fish. I like salmon. I've acquired a taste for oysters after I found out how nutritious they are for you. I kind of picked up the oysters over COVID because I found out they had a lot of zinc in them. So I thought it'd help me with COVID, and just started liking them. And sardines, I ate a bunch of those. I eat a ton of eggs. I eat 8 to 10 eggs a day. And that's pretty much it. Now, am I strict and I never go off that? No, if I'm out with friends and we're at a restaurant, I'll probably go off it some. I won't get beer. Like went to Chipotle with my wife today, but I get, I don't get any rice, don't get any beans. I get steak and some salad. I get some of the cream, or what's it, sour cream, and some salsa and stuff like that. So it looks like I don't get much in my bowl, and I don't get obviously a burrito shell. So I try to limit my carbs when I'm out with friends, but I'm not really strict. I mean, if I had the stuff that the people in my assisted living homes had, I would try to be as strict as I possibly can. But I figure I'm doing pretty well. I can probably be all right for a meal here and there. But I really try. I don't do that much fasting. I try to stop eating. Like I finished eating about 3 this afternoon. I won't eat the rest of the night, and then probably late morning I'll start eating again tomorrow. So I try to go maybe 14 to 16 hours each day without eating. But I don't, these 2-3 day fasts, the stuff I saw with Dr. Chafee and those kind of people, I don't. If you're on a carnivore diet, you really don't need to fast. You're sort of mimicking fasting. We also, for our assisted living residents, we generally try to stop serving them food about 5:30, and then don't give them food again until about 8 the next morning. So we get, close to 14, 15 hours of them not eating. And I don't get many complaints, and it's actually helps improve their sleep too if we don't have them eat, 3 or 4 hours before bed.
Oh yeah, because that can reduce the symptoms of acid reflux and stuff in the night and whatnot too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, sleep's when your body recovers and heals. And if it's spending all its time digesting, it's not doing that. So I know I sleep better.
That's the hard way. I ate some burritos, not, like just before sleeping, so a couple of hours before bed, eat, because my mom makes these lovely burritos. I don't eat them anymore, but for the most part, when I was eating them, I would be like drowning in vomit.
I bet. I I mean, when I was flying in the Air Force, I flew a plane that we'd fly almost exclusively at night, and I'd get back from flights at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and I'd always have a bowl of cereal before I went to bed. And, I don't think I slept so hot after that, but I'm sure it wasn't that good for me. And I felt lethargic and, run down a lot, things like that. I don't
I
anymore. And that was when I was 25, 26, something like that.
mean, if you can even believe what's written on the box of a cereal, a box of cereal, you look at that, you read the ingredients, be like, oh, okay, well, I know exactly what's in there. If you don't have an advanced chemistry degree, you have no idea what's in there.
Very much so. Yeah, it's not just bran picked out of the field and put in your cereal bowl. And there's an awful lot of sugar. This health coach that we brought in, that's Maria's trained. Um, she told me there's 65 different names for sugar that can be
My
ingredients in
God.
your, yeah, that they just call it different stuff. And you can't go by keto or health labels. You got to sit there and go through the ingredients, and you'll find it in most foods. I mean, I'm a big
Wow.
bacon fan, and she's like, don't eat bacon unless you get these brands because all the rest have sugar in them.
Man, I did not know. How many types of sugar? How many types of
65,
names for sugar?
65
60.
names.
That
Yeah.
bears repeating. 65 names for sugar.
Yeah.
Dear God, what are we doing?
Yeah. And it's everywhere because that's, I can't verify this, but I sure hear a lot of people say that the food companies have scientists trying to figure out how to make it more addictive.
Sugar that's more addictive than
No,
it
no, I'm
already
saying
is?
they want to make their foods
Oh,
more
the
addictive.
food. Oh,
And one of the
I was
best
thinking
ways to do
sugar
that
more
is
addictive.
yeah, no, one of the best ways is to put sugar in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah. I certainly have heard that about like chips and stuff and different kinds of foods that you would expect. They shouldn't have sugar in it. A can
Right.
of beans shouldn't have sugar in it, right?
Right. Exactly. I mean, bread shouldn't have sugar in it. Bacon definitely shouldn't have sugar in it. I could list off a whole lot of things. Spaghetti shouldn't have sugar in it.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, all the sauces and salad dressings and things like that, you're thinking you're doing good by eating a salad, and then you pour dressing on it and you just blew it.
Yeah.
So,
And then the stuff they put on the cheese that you get in the package, you get grated cheese. There's stuff all over that to keep it from melding together.
right. Oh,
That
yeah.
that powdered stuff that keeps it separated.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Someone I've read said that the ingredients they put in food many times is worse than all the pesticides they spray on all the plants. So
Hmm.
that's something to
I can
think
believe
about.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
But it's also
Oh,
hopeful because if you do eat right, it's amazing how much better you feel. Someone
okay.
told me
Awesome.
the the feeling I get from being healthy is so much better than the taste I get from any kind of junk food. So that's what he
That's
keeps
where I'm
telling
at.
himself that to when he gets tempted for his junk food
Yeah.
because it
I
does
think a
make you
lot of
feel.
us in this space are right there because
I
that's
know,
that's
and
what we
it's
have to compare it to. So is this worth that pain? And
right,
pretty much no.
exactly, and you don't think about it, you know. You don't think that just eating is going to make that big a difference, but it sure does. Much more than any medication's going to.
Yeah, that's strange how deeply powerful that is for our bodies. The things that we eat and the chemicals we put into ourselves to try and prevent pain or adjust this or that seems to be like very low caliber in comparison to just the regular food that we eat.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Maria's got all kinds of testimonials of people who said my pain went away eating your meals from your cookbook. Like, gone. I had this pain for years and it's gone. So you can't find a medication that will do that. You can have a medication that will take the pain away for a while, but it won't, it'll come back as soon as the medication wears off.
Hmm.
Or if it goes away eventually, it went away because your body healed it rather than the medication healed it. The medication just suppressed it until the body healed it. So why not give
Now,
the
I've,
body
in
the,
my experience, sorry, go ahead.
I, I was just going to finish and say, if the body's healing it, why not give the body the fuel to do its job?
Right. I was going to say, in my experience with pain meds and stuff, it just covers over the problem. And in fact, in most cases, prolongs it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. I mean, your body's doing stuff for a reason. Like when you have a fever, your body's trying to raise the temperature to kill whatever organisms in you that's causing you problems. Or when you have diarrhea, it's because your body's trying to get stuff out of your body that's not good for it. And when you take medication to stop the diarrhea, to lower the fever, you're really not letting the body do its thing to fix the problem. You're making it harder on the body. You might feel better, but you're prolonging it, like you said.
Hmm. Well, I have had a meetup with Craig before. I've got a video with him. I would really love to get Maria on the show or join her for a meetup, but so far that hasn't happened. But
All right.
I do
Well,
have hope that
I talk to her regularly, so let me see what I can do. Or
that
I'd
would be
love for you to
fantastic.
talk to. Maybe we start it with. I can talk to this health coach that we hired. She might want to get on there because
Ooh,
she's certified in all the stuff that Maria believes in and teaches and everything like that. And she's a wealth of knowledge. So
that would be awesome.
okay, let me talk to her and see.
Okay, cool. So just send her my contact over X
Okay,
or something, and I'm sure that we can
sure will.
work that out.
Yep.
That'll be fantastic. So I want to be cognizant of your time, though, and I'd like, if you would, can you leave us with a final thought or something that you would want other people to know?
Um, yeah, I would say, first of all, don't. There's a lot of really smart and wonderful doctors out there, but don't just take them at their word. Same as when you go to the mechanic's shop to get your car fixed, and the mechanic's doing something isn't right. You question them, you go get a second opinion, you get a second quote for a contractor. Doctors aren't any different. And when they start prescribing a ton of medications for your parent or grandparent, question them. Okay, you can agree with them and they can give you a good argument and you can say yes, that okay, I'm on board, that sounds great. But when the medications start getting up 10, 15 medications, it's time to start really questioning them. So challenge everything. The medical profession is not the be all end all. Here's the thought. My brother went to Harvard Medical School. He is an ophthalmologist. And at Parents Weekend, my folks went to see, and the dean of Harvard Med School said half of what we know in medicine is wrong. And we don't, or in 10 years, half of what we know in medicine is going to be proved wrong. And we don't know which half. So
Hmm.
there's so much we don't know about the human body and medicine and all that health. So they have a lot of training, but make sure you question them. And in the meantime, eat healthy and you're going to see tremendous results, especially for older people. Because younger people are
Wow.
healthy, you know, their age and their metabolism can cover up for an awful lot of sin. Older people can't. So you're going to see probably lots more improvement in older people. Does that work?
Thank you. That does. That's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
I had a
Well,
guy that was on
friends,
54 medications. We're down to 27 with the doctors. So yeah, I'm working to get it lower, but
54.
54. That's my record yet so far.
Wow, I can't even imagine taking 54 meds at one time. There's that one guy that's
Well,
trying to do that
my
longevity.
caregivers were going nuts trying to keep track of it.
54 meds.
Mhm.
This med is for that. You've got a pain here. This med is for that. You got a pain there. This med is to counteract that pain med there.
Yeah, a lot. Yep. And some of those were vitamin D and multivitamins and things like that. So it wasn't all, serious hardcore medications, but it's still, he's taking the pills. You still have to count out all these pills. So,
Mama Cracker, thank you for holding on with us the whole time.
yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure. It's really nice talking to you. And I'm really sorry about messing up the days.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Like I said, that was probably on me. I should have clarified the space of time.
No problem. All right. Well, have a great evening. Or what time is it there now?
Thank you.
Sunday
Well, right
morning?
now it's more for me, but yeah.
Well, have a great Sunday morning. Okay.
Thank you. Everybody, this has been Hal Cranmer of A Paradise for Parents, Assisted Living in Arizona. Thank you all for hanging with us. And Hal, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care. All right. Bye.
Hey, hang with me, okay? I'm going to end the
Okay.
stream here.
Sure.
Okay. See you guys.